So y'all, I saw this saying, I had to pull over and record it. Now mind you, I'm in Jackson, Mississippi. Good red, Republican Mississippi. You know this got to be bad. So y'all, I saw this saying, I had to pull over and record it. Now mind you, I'm in Jackson, Mississippi. Good red, Republican Mississippi. You know this got to be bad. So y'all.
It's pretty wild that people are catching felonies for touching the liner in the reflecting pool, but not for touching kids. It's pretty wild that people are catching felonies for touching the liner in the reflecting pool, but not for touching kids.
Yo, I wanna believe that fucking America's poisoning the food and shit, but have y'all seen their black men? Like, ooh, ooh, like, what the fuck, bro? We don't have that shit in Canada. Them men, they don't be looking like that. Like, what the fuck? Especially the southern man. Southern man, different fucking level. The southern black, okay. Like, shit. What the fuck? Yo.
This is the secret weapon.
I seen sweet words turn cold in a blink. Seen fake love for that edge of the brink. So I keep it honest, no pretty disguise. Truth in the kitchen, truth in the eyes. Mary Jane glitter is working. Grit, two rough hands learning how to fit. I seen sweet words turn cold in a blink. Seen fake love for that edge of the brink. So I keep it honest, no pretty disguise. Truth in the kitchen, truth in the eyes. Mary Jane glitter is working. Grit, two rough hands learning how to fit. I seen sweet words.
Yeah, and also, just for all of you evangelicals out there, one nation under God in the Pledge of Allegiance was only added in 1954. We're not a Christian nation. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Bye. Yeah, and also, just for all of you evangelicals out there, one nation under God in the Pledge of Allegiance was only added in 1954. We're not a Christian nation. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Bye. Yeah.
Hey cousins, did y'all see the man up here talking about his shitty ass family because he went to his grandfather's funeral, and at the grandfather funeral they found out the grandfather had a 4-year-old daughter, and at the funeral in front of this 4-year-old daughter, this 4-year-old little girl, all his family was talking about sending her to an orphanage and how nobody fucking wanted her, and this man's name is OP. He was looking at all his family like, you motherfuckers are shitty human beings, and he's like, I'm finna take the fucking daughter. Like, what the fuck? Like, yeah, my grandpa had a 4-year-old and he should have been doing all that, and all his other kids grown as fuck, and the baby mama is the fucking cleaning lady. That's neither here nor there. This is a 4-year-old girl who just lost her father. And then also, her mother is nowhere to fucking be found. Where the fuck is this little girl mama at? The little girl mama is fucking gone with the fucking wind. And so she's just sitting here. She was sitting at the fucking funeral in a ball in a corner crying. Again, listening to all these adults that are supposed to be her fucking family. All these fucking adults are sitting up there talking shit about her, saying how she has to go to a fucking orphanage and how don't nobody fucking want her and they don't want to be with her. Mind you, she ain't did shit. She's 4 years fucking old. So again, OP is seeing this and he is just not sitting right with him. He like, fuck all my family. Y'all niggas is fucking weird. This is a fucking baby, so I'm gonna take her. So boom. Now mind you, OP is 23. He's still in college. Like, this nigga is really like a young kid. Like, he's just getting out and learning life and everything. Like, he's still learning shit himself. He's only 23. But he's like, fuck that. He's still got enough common sense to be like, this is my family, I have to take her. And mind you, he's telling everybody it's his niece, but it's really his auntie because it's his grandfather's daughter, which is his mom's dad, which makes her his mom's half-sister, which make her his aunt. But
yeah, I just want to know, if I start off with saying my page is for black people, why the fuck would I have a bunch of troglodytes and pilgrims in my fucking comments with some shit to say? Clearly, this shit ain't for you. I'm talking about a whole bunch of black shit, black experiences, black issues, black commentary, black sports, from a whole black standpoint, black family, black money.
Well, maybe Mel can guard a small forward or something. Let's see. Come on, Mel. You can do it. You can do it, Mel. Come on. Oh, Lord, Mel. Mel Gibson can't guard nobody. Good Lord. Turnstile can't guard nobody. Maybe on the replay it might turn out different. Let's see. Come on, Mel. Come on, Lethal Weapon. Oh, Lord, Lethal Weapon, Mel Gibson can't guard nobody. Good Lord. Help her. Help me, please. Help me, please. Well, man.
Y'all want to scream out native erasure so bad, but answer me this though. What were you guys saying to my brothers and sisters when you were stealing all their shit and erasing all their native heritage, all their real native bloodline ties and everything like that? What were you guys saying to them when you were doing that? Crickets. Oh yeah, that's right, I'll wait, because you guys didn't give a fuck when you were taking all their shit, when you were stealing all the land and overthrowing them and fucking hanging and slaughtering and treating them like they were nothing and literally telling them they were worth nothing and treating them as if they were farm animals and shit. Where were you guys at then, huh? When you literally erased all of their shit, and now you guys are mad because it's all coming back and it's all resurfacing because it was too powerful. You guys just didn't know what you were dealing with and you couldn't erase it. So yes, we are participating in the fake native erasure because we don't give a fuck. You guys were never the real natives in the first place. So yeah, take that how you want. We don't give a fuck. You guys didn't give a fuck when you did it to them. You didn't give a fuck at all what you did to my brothers and sisters and all the pain and suffering you put them all through. You didn't give a fuck at all, did you? And now they standing up calling this motherfucker, now they taking everything back. It's a problem. It's a real problem. So stop screaming that native erasure shit, because like I said, you guys didn't give a fuck when you were doing it to them. Stand the fuck down. Y'all want to...
Today's country word of the day, heening, and I'm gonna use it in a sentence. An old friend called me yesterday. He say he been seeing me all over his TikTok. I done went viral. Then gonna say he need $100. He ain't even called me in years. He ain't even asked me how my family been. He ain't even asked me how my kids been. He ain't even... Today's country.
1,000 motherfuckers dead in 72 hours in France. Why they ain't talking about it? Let's just sit here and let's analyze this. Right? Over 1,000 people dropped dead from the heat.
From the sun?
In France. And ain't nobody talking about it. You don't think that that's worth mentioning on news? Why would you want to keep that silent? I mean, let's just be pragmatic here. Let's ask ourselves. Something as devastating as 1,000 people in 72 hours drop dead, and you keep it quiet intentionally. You don't find that suspicious?
I do.
You don't find that suspicious?
These white people really just cannot believe that Carmelo had the whole audacity to stand under that tent in the rain and not leave when that bully told him to. They can't believe that kid had the audacity to stay in.
This little machine can honestly help you start a side hustle right from home, and it's way more affordable.
President Trump now needs to pay E. Jean Carroll $5 million after the Supreme Court said it will not take up his appeal of a 2023 jury verdict that found that he sexually abused and defamed her. Now, that case centered around allegations that Trump had sexually assaulted Carroll in a New York department store in the 90s. He then went on to say that she made the whole thing up to boost sales of her book.
And I say it with as much respect as I can, but she is not my type.
President Trump has appealed that verdict all the way here to the Supreme Court, but they have repeatedly delayed deciding whether they take up the case. They didn't explain what took so long, but we finally have an answer. Now, the Supreme Court may have to deal with a very similar question soon because Trump had a second trial against Carroll in 2024. That jury awarded her $83 million for defamation. Trump's lawyers are expected to appeal that case back here to the Supreme Court in the coming days. President Trump.
And the Supreme Court out with another decision, this time regarding the fate of certain migrants living with temporary protected status. There are a bunch of them, and Shannon Bream joins us again with more. Shannon, how do we read this one?
Okay, so Dana, we read it as a win for the Trump administration, which has wanted to wipe out temporary protected status for more than 1 million people who are living here in this country. These cases centered on a number of Haitian and Syrian refugees who were here in the country. And basically what the court has said is that they can't challenge this decision by the Department of Homeland Security, by the administration, that they're the ones who get to make the assessment about whether they leave or not. I haven't read the whole thing, but they do get into some of the claims that by some of those who are advocating for the Haitian refugees, that there was some kind of racial animus. The court says they don't see evidence of that. So I'll keep reading, but it's another very fractured decision that seems to be a win for the Trump administration, which would be the second win for them on immigration. That earlier decision that we talked about that came out just a few minutes ago saying that if you get to the Mexico border, but you don't make it onto U.S. soil, you can't file an asylum claim. So the Trump administration has to be happy about what they've gotten today. We've still got 8 opinions left, and it looks like Monday will be our next opinion day.
And the Supreme Court just affirmed your right to fire the heads of independent agencies. Should we expect more firings as a result of this ruling?
I don't think so. It gives me the right, and not me, it gives a president the right to do what the president should have the right to do. And it's very interesting. It's a big ruling. It's been going on for almost 100 years. They've been working on this, and you know that it comes down at my term is a very great honor. But it bestows additional powers, or maybe the same power, on the president. The president has the right to do this, and that has to do with a lot of agencies all throughout the system. So it's considered, you know, the biggest of the group. And I can understand that this has been going on for almost 100 years. They've been waiting for this decision.
The Supreme Court just affirmed. Mr. President, question on the Slaughter case. The Supreme Court just affirmed your right to fire the heads of independent agencies. Should we...
And $21 million for voter turnout in India. What do we need to spend $21 million for voter turnout in India? Wow, $21 million. I guess they were trying to get somebody else elected. Wow, we ought to tell the Indian government, because when we hear that Russia spent about $2 in our country, it was a big deal, right? They took some internet ads for $2,000. This is a total breakthrough. $21 million for India elections, and what the Epstein is a Democrat hoax to try and get me not to be able to talk about the $21 trillion that I talked about today. It's a hoax. Now, I just got a little report, and I put it in my pocket, of all the money that he's given to Democrats. He gave me none, zero, no money to me, but he gave money to Democrats, and people are wise to your hoax. And what the Epstein is We're doing very well. There'll be a meeting on that tomorrow in Doha, and they're going to Qatar. I think they've already left, or they're just about getting ready to leave. So we'll see how that goes. But we're doing very well on that front. But the meeting in Doha is going to be perhaps important, perhaps not. We're going to find out. But we're winning militarily. It's almost won militarily, I would say. And it's really very simple. It's the denuclearization of Iran. We don't want them to have a nuclear weapon, and they're not going to have a nuclear weapon. And they've agreed to that, in all fairness. We're doing very well. There'll be a meeting on that tomorrow in Doha, and they're going to Qatar. I think they've already left, or they're just about getting ready to leave. So we'll see how that goes. But we're doing very well on that front. But the meeting in Doha is going to be
perhaps important, perhaps not. We're going to find out. But we're winning militarily. It's almost won militarily, I would say. And it's really very simple. It's the denuclearization of Iran. We don't want them to have a nuclear weapon, and they're not going to have a nuclear weapon. And they've agreed to that, in all fairness. We're doing very well.
Give me Horma's key first. No, first $300 billion. No. Then take this. Give me Horma's key first. No, first $300 billion. No. Then take this. Give me Horma's key first. No, first $300 billion. No. Then take this.
So, Congressman, why do you think no one is showing up to Donald Trump's 250th anniversary?
Because his party sucks.
Yeah.
There's nothing fun to do.
Right.
Even Vanilla Ice canceled on him the last minute because the weather was supposed to be bad, but it turned out being just fine. So, if you throw bad parties, no one's going to come.
I assume you're not going.
No, I will not be there with anything that is specifically aligned with the president.
Got it.
Anyone who makes this about himself as opposed to the 250th anniversary of our amazing country deserves the party alone.
Got it. Thank you, Congressman. So,
Give me Horma's key first. No, first $300 billion. No. Then take this. Give me Horma's key first. No, first $300 billion. No. Then take this. Folks, look at this. Trump's latest tantrum. He's this angry all the time. No wonder he's losing it. Folks.
Plans for the housing bill, Mr. President?
I think it's so unimportant. There's so much talk about, oh, we're going to drive housing prices down. I don't want to drive housing prices down. I want to drive housing prices up.
What are your plans for the house?
I'm going to bring in MS Now White House reporter Laura Barron Lopez. Laura, I want to start with the E. Jean Carroll case here and what the president's reaction is to this rejection.
Well, the president isn't happy with the Supreme Court's decision to say that they are not taking up this case, which ultimately could mean that he has to pay the $5 million settlement, which was found just a few years ago. I mean, the president said today that he will continue to fight against the weaponization and lawfare case against him, including the ridiculous claim of defamation, which he was found guilty of. He said with all of his power and strength, the case is really against the United States of America and all it stands for and should never be allowed to happen to another president or candidate. So again, repeating things that he has said in the past in terms of denying what he was found guilty of in this case with E. Jean Carroll, the magazine columnist. And the president also, again, trying to make this about not just himself, but saying what he said on the campaign trail with multiple cases against him when he tried to say that that the cases against him were also cases against Americans and against his supporters.
I'm going to bring in MS Now White House reporter Laura Barron Lopez. Laura, I want to start with the E. Jean Carroll case here and what the president's reaction is to this rejection.
Well, the president isn't happy with the Supreme Court's decision to say that they are not taking up this case, which ultimately could mean that he has to pay the $5 million settlement, which was found just a few years ago. I mean, the president said today that he will continue to fight against the weaponization and lawfare case against him, including the ridiculous claim of defamation, which he was found guilty of. He said with all of his power and strength, the case is really against the United States of America and all it stands for and should never be allowed to happen to another president or candidate. So again, repeating things that he has said in the past in terms of denying what he was found guilty of in this case with E. Jean Carroll, the magazine columnist. And the president also, again, trying to make this about not just himself, but saying what he said on the campaign trail with multiple cases against him when he tried to say that that the cases against him were also cases against Americans and against his supporters.
I'm going to bring in MS Now White House reporter Laura Barron Lopez. Laura, I want to start with the E. Jean Carroll case here and what the president's reaction is to this rejection.
Well, the president isn't happy with the Supreme Court's decision to say that they are not taking up this case, which ultimately could mean that he has to pay the $5 million settlement, which was found just a few years.
It's not just is deliberate extortion, destruction of NATO, and it's choosing Putin as an American ally, or the fact that he's diminished our standards in the eyes of the world more than any president in history has. It's not just.
We signed a historic agreement to accomplish what no president has ever been able to accomplish before.
Just days after President Donald Trump presented his agreement with Iran as a historic turning point, American aircraft were once again striking targets inside the Islamic Republic. Iran then launched missiles and drones toward American military facilities in Bahrain and Kuwait. Commercial ships were attacked near the Strait of Hormuz. Israel resumed strikes against Hezbollah positions in southern Lebanon. And suddenly, an agreement designed to stop a wider Middle East war appeared to be moving dangerously close to collapse. But now, after several days of military escalation, Washington and Tehran have reportedly agreed to stop attacking each other and return to negotiations. So, did President Trump's Iran agreement survive its first major test? Or has the confrontation only been temporarily paused before an even more dangerous round begins? The latest escalation started in the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most strategically important shipping routes. On Thursday, the 25th of June, the Singapore-flagged cargo ship M5 Ever Lovely was attacked while traveling near the coast of Oman. The United States blamed Iranian forces and described the incident as a direct violation of the interim ceasefire reached earlier in June. American aircraft responded by striking Iranian missile and drone storage locations, along with coastal radar facilities. Vice President J.D. Vance accused Iran of using military force instead of contacting Washington to resolve disagreements over the agreement. His warning was direct. Violence would be met with violence. But the confrontation did not end there. According to U.S. Central Command, another commercial vessel, the Panama-flagged tanker MT Kiku, was struck by a one-way attack drone on June 27. The tanker was reportedly carrying more than 2 million barrels while traveling near the Strait of Hormuz. CENTCOM said the second attack demonstrated that Iran had chosen not to honor the ceasefire. At President Trump's direction, American military aircraft carried out another series of strikes inside Iran. This time, the targets reportedly included military surveillance infrastructure, communications systems, air defense positions, drone storage facilities, and capabilities connected to the deployment of naval mines. The United States described the operation as a limited and direct response intended to protect international shipping. Iran offered a completely different version of events. Tehran accused Washington of violating the agreement and attempting to prevent Iran from exercising what it considers its legitimate authority over the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's Revolutionary Guard claimed that its forces had targeted American military positions across the region. Missiles and drones were launched toward U.S. facilities in Bahrain and Kuwait. Bahrain, which hosts the headquarters of the United States Navy's Fifth Fleet, sounded emergency sirens as the attack unfolded. Bahraini authorities later reported that an Iranian drone damaged a residential building in Muharraq. Fortunately, no casualties were reported. Kuwait said its air defenses intercepted 2 ballistic missiles without significant damage or loss of life. An American official also said there were no reported U.S. casualties or major damage to American military facilities. However, the exchanges demonstrated how quickly a dispute over commercial shipping could expand into attacks involving several Gulf countries. At the center of the confrontation is a basic disagreement over what the interim memorandum actually requires. Washington says commercial vessels must be allowed to travel freely and unconditionally through the Strait of Hormuz. Iran argues that ships must coordinate their movements with Iranian authorities and that Tehran, together with Oman, should play the leading role in controlling the waterway. Iranian officials have also discussed charging ships for passage, an idea strongly opposed by the United States and Gulf governments. This disagreement matters because the Strait of Hormuz is not simply a regional shipping lane. It is one of the most important routes for global oil and liquefied natural gas exports. Any prolonged disruption could affect shipping costs, insurance rates, fuel prices, and energy markets around the world. The crisis is also connected to another fragile agreement involving Israel and Lebanon. On the 26th of June, representatives of Israel and Lebanon signed a U.S. brokered framework in Washington. The arrangement calls for the phased withdrawal of Israeli forces from portions of southern Lebanon and the deployment of the Lebanese army. It also links further Israeli withdrawal to the removal of Hezbollah's weapons and military infrastructure from the area. Hezbollah rejected the agreement. Its leader, Naim Qassem, described the framework as a surrender to Israel and said the organization would continue its armed resistance. Israel then carried out additional military operations in southern Lebanon. Israeli officials said their forces destroyed a 200-meter underground tunnel in Majdal zone containing weapons and rocket launchers. Hezbollah called the operation a violation of the ceasefire and said it reserved the right to respond. This means the United States is not dealing with one isolated dispute. The Iran agreement, security in the Strait of Hormuz, and the Israel-Lebanon framework are becoming increasingly connected. A military escalation on one front could quickly damage negotiations on the others. President Trump warned that the United States could return to major military action if Iran continued violating the agreement. Iran's Revolutionary Guard issued its own warning, saying further American strikes would result in a broader response. For several hours, both sides appeared to be preparing for another round of attacks. Then came an unexpected diplomatic breakthrough. A senior American official said the United States and Iran had agreed to stop kinetic military activity for the time being. Both sides were expected to continue technical discussions covering the Memorandum of Understanding. New negotiations were planned in Doha, Qatar, with the immediate focus shifting from Iran's nuclear program to the rules governing commercial traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. This temporary stand-down may prevent an immediate escalation, but it does not resolve the underlying dispute. The United States wants unrestricted commercial navigation. Iran wants recognition of its security role and greater authority over vessels traveling through the strait. The communications hotline discussed during earlier negotiations was reportedly not fully operational when the latest attacks occurred. Without a reliable system for coordinating ship movements and preventing misunderstandings, another incident could quickly restart the confrontation. The next round of negotiations may therefore determine whether the agreement becomes a genuine peace process or merely a temporary pause between military exchanges. Can Washington and Tehran agree on who controls movement through the Strait of Hormuz? Will Iran stop targeting commercial vessels? Will the United States avoid additional strikes inside Iran? And can the Israel-Lebanon framework survive while Hezbollah rejects disarmament and Israel continues military operations? President Trump has presented the agreement as...
The United States launched a new round of airstrikes against Iran overnight after the IRGC attacked another oil tanker. According to U.S. Central Command, a variety of different targets were hit, including military surveillance sites. Including military surveillance sites, air defense capabilities, communications, including military surveillance sites, air defense capabilities, communication systems. Including military surveillance sites. Including military surveillance sites, air defense capabilities, communication systems, and mine layers. In response, Iran launched missiles and drones toward Kuwait and Bahrain. This was the second exchange of fire this weekend between the United States and Iran. Vice President J.D. Vance posted to X over the weekend saying Iran signed a ceasefire agreement. We have honored it. If they have disagreements about how the MOU is being applied, they can pick up the phone. But violence will be met with violence. The new military action comes as the situation between Israel and Hezbollah plays out on a separate but parallel track. The Israelis launched new airstrikes against Hezbollah this weekend as Hezbollah continued attacks against Israeli forces in southern Lebanon. Late last week, there was a diplomatic breakthrough in Washington as the Israelis and Lebanese signed a framework agreement aimed at normalizing ties between the two countries and disarming Hezbollah.
These were intense talks, difficult talks, but we arrived at an agreement, a framework agreement, which will allow for the achievement of a full peace agreement between our two countries.
Some progress on those talks between Israel and Lebanon, and questions today if the technical talks between the United States and Iran will move forward following this exchange of fire over the weekend. John?
All right, Trey Yingst reporting live from Tel Aviv. Thank you, Trey. So President Trump is now putting Iran on notice. He warns its regime may not survive if the ceasefire keeps breaking down. He says there might come a point when the U.S. is forced to, quote, complete the job. Alex Hogan is at the White House with the latest. Alex.
Hi, John. So as you mentioned, President Trump taking it one step further following these renewed attacks. He took to Truth Social, writing in part, quote, there may come a point when we are no longer able to be reasonable and will be forced to militarily complete the job that we have successfully started. If that happens, the Islamic Republic of Iran will no longer exist.
We had 4 Republican senators and all Democrats. You know, Democrats, they want to lose the war because they're stupid. That's why we call them Democrats, you know. I no longer use the E. I've changed the E into a U. We call them Democrats. They're dumb. Their policy is so bad. That's why they have to. They are opposed to the Save America Act because they don't want voter ID. They don't want proof of citizenship. You know why? Because they have to cheat. Their policy is so bad that if they don't cheat, they wouldn't win an election. They're phenomenal cheaters, and they stick together. We had 4.
Former President Joe Biden has launched his strongest public attack yet on President Donald Trump, calling him a corrupt, narcissistic, incompetent loser during a speech to Maryland Democrats ahead of the 2026 midterm elections. Biden accused Trump of unprecedented corruption, claiming his administration is driven by self-enrichment and personal vanity. He criticised Trump's White House ballroom.
Breaking news! Donald Trump's shocking garbage claims just got totally exposed by secret federal documents. He swore that 12 truckloads of trash were hidden inside the pool after attacking Rachel Scott. But what the government records actually revealed about his secret words is in the top comment. Breaking news!
Look at...
Your life will be in great danger. Yeah.
Press out, press out.
President Trump, and it seems like there was just a little bit of...
Your life will be in great danger. Yeah. We're doing very well. There'll be a meeting on that tomorrow in Doha, and they're going to Qatar. I think they've already left, or they're just about getting ready to leave. So we'll see how that goes. But we're doing very well on that front. But the meeting in Doha is going to be perhaps important, perhaps not. We're going to find out. But we're winning militarily. It's almost won militarily, I would say. And it's really very simple. It's the denuclearization of Iran. We don't want them to have a nuclear weapon, and they're not going to have a nuclear weapon. And they've agreed to that, in all fairness. We're doing very well. There'll be a meeting on that tomorrow in Doha. And they're going to Qatar. I think they've already left, or they're just about getting ready to leave. So we'll see how that goes. But we're doing very well on that front. But the meeting in Doha is going to be perhaps important, perhaps not. We're going to find out.
A highly recognizable figure is officially joining the Trump administration right now to help save America. So I will break down his famous identity and his powerful new role in the first comment section for you to go down and check it.
A highly controversial statement from a sitting lawmaker is igniting a massive national firestorm as he demands the immediate denaturalization of anyone who allegedly lied to gain a passport. The legal world is...
Bombshell alert. Donald Trump has officially sounded the alarm, alleging a massive California primary election theft as millions of mail-in ballots remain delayed. Federal oversight operations are mobilizing fast. Tap the pinned link to watch the full report.
That's my wife in the truck here in Anne Arundel County, Maryland.
Yeah.
14 million views as of this morning.
Donald Trump is shutting down the White House today from any and all public events as his war plans are backfiring in his face. I'll get to that in a moment, but you take a look at his schedule. Starting at 8 a.m., the White House claims that he will be doing, quote, executive time. At 3:30, they claim he's doing a closed press event that is a policy meeting. Sure, he's doing a policy meeting. Then they claim he's doing a print interview at 5 p.m., which is closed to the press, and at 7 p.m., a Rose Garden Club dinner that is closed to the press. This says he is cognitively and physically declining before our eyes with major red flags, and he's hiding from the fact that he told us that today there was going to be a major meeting in Doha, in Qatar, between the United States and Iran, that Qatar was going to mediate along with Pakistan. That's what Donald Trump said on Sunday and yesterday morning before the markets opened. He manipulated the markets yesterday and the market surged. But the truth didn't surge. The truth is that Iran is not meeting in Doha, that Iran has called off all further technical conversations and negotiations with the United States. And the Trump regime is sending Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner to Doha, perhaps to engage in their own personal business dealings. By the way, I'm going to do a video on this in a little bit. Witkoff apparently yelled at all the members of Congress during a purported briefing on the Memorandum of Understanding when people asked, "What's your role in all of this, Witkoff? Are you still doing lots of business deals while you've been involved in this MOU?" But I digress. Witkoff and Kushner are there in Doha. The Iranians are not there in Doha because they said, we ain't having these discussions while you continue to strike Qeshm and Sarik and all these other areas in Iran and violate the ceasefire, violate the MOU. Iran says no talks with the United States are scheduled. No negotiations are taking place in Qatar. There's no imminent meeting taking place. They're not going to any meetings. There's no relationship to the truth with anything that Donald Trump is saying. If you heard what Donald Trump said yesterday in the Oval Office as the day was winding down and the markets had closed, he kind of admitted it because Trump was asked, so what's going on? Are you excited about these meetings in Doha? And Donald Trump's like, I don't know, maybe not. Who knows if they're going to be productive. Iran is not even going to be there. Listen to what he said. Play this clip.
Doing very well on that front. But the meeting in Doha is going to be perhaps important, perhaps not. We're going to find out. But we're winning militarily. It's almost won militarily, I would say.
By the way, just look at how Donald Trump looked over here during this Oval Office meeting he had yesterday. No wonder he's shutting down the White House today. But here's what he claims he's putting on the White House entranceway. A golden gift to the White House for its 250th birthday year. Seems though it was an AI image because when Andrew Layden took a photo of the White House last night, that golden eagle, which looks a lot like the golden eagle Nazi emblem that you see right there in the Third Reich. That was not on the White House, but Donald Trump said it was going to be on the White House. We'll see if he's going to put that up. It's going to make it, as our editor-in-chief, Ron Filipkowski, said, you know what was missing after all of Donald Trump's destruction of D.C.? Some golden eagle. We need more gold on the White House right there. Now, while Donald Trump is shutting down the White House from all public events and manipulating the markets, he's raging at refiners for not lowering the prices because Donald Trump doesn't understand the way Brent crude futures looks and what refiners are doing. In any event, Donald Trump, aren't these your buddies? Can't you just pick up the phone and call your refiner friends and your gas buddies and in the industry, and they could explain to you what you're doing? Didn't you tell them about your invasion of Venezuela before you told anybody else? Weren't you coordinating that invasion with the oil companies? Didn't you say that was what you were going to do? So this is Donald Trump's economic policy, and I say that facetiously, of course. So while he refuses to speak in coherent sentences or actually explain what the hell he's doing, this is the Trump economic policy. He posts on social media. Here's what he posts. Gasoline retailers must get their prices down immediately. They're too high considering that oil is now at $68 a barrel and headed south. The retailers must quickly react to the statement and do what they know is right. Drop your price for our great American people. There will be no gouging, which is totally illegal. If retailers don't do this, big problems lie ahead. Start targeting around $2.50 a gallon number, and California should stop charging heavy taxes on their gasoline. Soon the tax will be higher than the product itself, and the United States will not stand for it, nor will the people of California who are being abused by the ridiculous taxes and by their own government. Donald J. Trump. So,
Thunderbolt Hall lightning has killed grown men in one strike. I caught it with my bare hand.
Attacking California. Gas is at all-time highs in red states and significantly higher increase by percentage than in California. But okay, you want to turn this into California. But also you need to understand the crack spreads, the delta or difference between the price of crude, which is a measure of the future when we see the Brent crude and WTI, and what the refiners are charging. Because when you actually look at these crack spreads, it seems what may be happening is that the refiners believe that the supply is not going to be there in the future. They may not be buying the narrative that we're in very stable times. They may be looking at tank bottom in Cushing, Oklahoma, and international strategic reserves hitting a low. And they may be a little bit worried right now about precipitously dropping their prices when they don't believe there's going to be a potential supply. By the way, do I believe that they engage in price gouging? Abso-freaking-lutely I do. And I think they did that in droves under former President Biden. And I think the crude prices were completely manipulated as well under former President Biden. I think you had a combination of both. But if you take a look at the Strait of Hormuz right now, and we remove the rhetoric of the Trump regime and all of the propaganda from state regime media, one of the reasons I think Trump has shut down the White House right now, these policy meetings, I have two theories, and they both may be happening at the same time. Number one, cognitive physical decline, and he's getting medical treatment. I'm giving you my opinion, and behind the scenes, he wants to limit his availability to the press because he's declining very fast. I also think that there's panic going on behind the scenes as well about the actual state of our strategic reserves. I am observing what is happening in Cushing, Oklahoma. We're at basically tank bottom or technical tank bottom at this point. If you look at the Strait of Hormuz, the numbers of tankers going out, it's going down. That Omani lane that the United States continues to try to escort ships, we're seeing less ships go through the Omani lane. By the way, Oman has said that it will be charging environmental fees with Iran in the future, and they didn't buy what Rubio said. Rubio says, Oman says that they're not charging. No, Oman says we'll probably charge fees after 60 days. Not tolls, but some sort of fees. But the amount of tankers getting through the Strait of Hormuz has been going down each day. The escalation trap continues to be set, and by that I mean the U.S. continues to try to bring these VLCCs, these big vessels and these big tankers through a route that's not authorized by the IRGC. So I don't know, feels like any moment now, by the time I do this video, it could be very soon where Iran's going to strike another one of these ships that the U.S. is escorting. And then the U.S. is going to strike Iran, then Iran's going to strike the U.S. when the Trump regime says that we're involved and we've agreed that there's going to be no more strikes on Iran and we're talking, that's just not true. That's not happening. And the U.S. is basically giving the middle finger to the MOU with its Lebanon MOU, which is in direct contradiction of the Iran MOU, because the Lebanon MOU says Iran has no role in southern Lebanon and Israel withdrawing, which is in direct contravention of Article 1 of the Iran MOU. Just they're in direct contravention. And you have U.S. continuing to try to bait Iran into shooting the tankers that the U.S. is trying to escort. And so that's a recipe for continued strikes. And I expect it's going to happen soon again. Today, in a few hours, I'm sure it's going to happen again soon. Certainly in the next day or two.
I'm Michael Popak, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of Midas Touch's Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popak Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popak Firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event, by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my Legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states, and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popak Firm today at 1-877-POPAK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopakfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popak Firm, fighting for your justice every step of the way.
Meanwhile, one of the things that the U.S. is covering up as well, and the only thing that may be a deterrent, is from what I'm hearing, Iran really hit hard some of these U.S. bases after the U.S. struck Sirik and Keshem on Friday and Saturday. MB Ghalibaf's informal spokesperson posted, Iran destroyed all the new military infrastructure of the United States in 8 locations, including air bases in Kuwait and Bahrain. Now, you may say, well, do you trust that, Ben? I mean, CENTCOM didn't publish anything, and we're not hearing this from the U.S. military. Normally, in the normal times, I would say, this is MB Ghalibaf's informal spokesperson, but they've been spot on. I've been reporting on the satellite image in the past that I saw, and then you saw last week Wall Street Journal did a confirmatory report saying this is what all these air bases look like. Iran obliterated the U.S. bases during the war when the U.S. was denying it. So I have to assume there's at least some high level of credibility there when they say these air bases have been hit. When you factor in the U.S. is shutting down, when Trump is just kind of shutting down the White House from the press, I think they're panicking over what's happening. That's my gut of it, of what's going on. And then they're planning how they're going to manipulate the market more for their right-wing oligarchs. You see how the story by CNBC and More Perfect Union described